Apparently the position that he put himself in was too much for the cyst that had grown in his testicles, and it ruptured. There was pus and just everywhere. It splashed down his leg, on the floor, the chair, the bed, the walls. Like it was significant. There was a significant amount of splashing. I get asked about this story a lot, so I'm going to do a story time. I was working as a nurse in the emergency department. We had a patient came in. He was maybe mid-30s, and he had some swelling and pain in his testicular sac. So we had a look, and there was significant swelling and some kind of mass that you could feel, like, in the testicular sac. From the outside, kind of looked like a whitehead that had gone nuts. We didn't realize at the time there was a cyst inside that had, it was just putting pressure on everything, and it was putting pressure up into the abdominal cavity as well. So we send off for a specialist, and while we're waiting for the specialist, I was in the room about to help him with something, and he gets up out of his bed. So patient gets up, goes over to his bag, he's rummaging around. Apparently the position that he put himself in was too much for the cyst that had grown in his testicles, and it ruptured. There was pus and just everywhere. It splashed down his leg, on the floor, the chair, the bed, the walls. Like it was significant. There was a significant amount of splashing. And he looked at me, and the nurse next to me froze, and he's still on his feet. So I was like, man, are you okay? And he looked at me with this really sheepish smile, and he's like, I felt really good. And then he kind of collapsed back into bed, and we got him off to emergency surgery straight away. But prognosis looked really good. Other than the rupture of the sac itself, it didn't look like there'd been much damage. And I didn't see him again, so unfortunately I don't know what happened.
That's pretty crazy, I must admit. Imagine having a cyst that big that's growing inside a man's sac to the point where it just bursts and explodes everywhere. Like, I just can't even imagine it. That man must have been in so much pain that it was just, you know, in the end, that the cyst just gave in and just decided to explode, and obviously ruptured part of him. Thankfully, there wasn't too much damage to internally done to like his systems and his down below, because who knows what could have happened. But, you know, I'm sure he was glad that it actually burst, because I mean, obviously when that woman asked him, you know, man, are you okay? And he's like, you know, really sheepishly, like, I feel actually really good. Like, it's such a huge, like, bubble to burst, and like weight off of his shoulder that cyst managed to burst, because it finally just alleviated any pressure or pain that he was currently feeling. But my only query is, like, how did that actually come around? How did that actually happen? Like, what actually caused the actual build-up of the cyst inside of his test? I'm not entirely sure, and I'm hoping for that man's sake that it doesn't happen to him again, but I'm sure it won't, so he'll probably most likely take extra care. But that's still wild, and yeah, most definitely the first time I've ever heard of anything even close to, like, remotely close for anything like this happening. Never knew like things like that could happen, I'll be honest, especially inside a man's private parts.
I'm allergic to semen. Yes, you heard me right. I'm allergic to semen. It's not funny, it actually sucks. Because not only am I allergic to semen, I'm also allergic to every condom. And I tried to ask my allergist about this, and he was like, I think you're actually just allergic to the friction. So of course I just did a little experiment, and there was no burning at the end. Oh, because what happens when semen touches my lady parts? And here's the thing, I'm only allergic to semen on my lady bits. And when it touches my lady parts, they burn so badly. Like, it hurts. It hurts so bad. I can't handle it. I cry. Okay, it hurts so bad. The allergist is like, oh, it's just the friction. It's just the friction. So I tried it. Nope. It is not the friction. It is most certainly the semen. And I know I'm not the only one. So what are other people doing? What are you doing for it? Because obviously we can just do the dirty and not have semen involved, but it's just not the same. What if I want to have a baby? What am I going to do? So anyways, I know I'm not the only one. You have to tell me, what are you doing for this? How are you treating this? How are you dealing with doing things? Anyways, I'm glad we had this talk.
Bizarre. Imagine being with someone and you're involved in an intimate relationship, and unfortunately for this woman, she doesn't actually now get to experience the proper, the full experience of having intercourse with someone. Because whatever comes out of a man once he's reached a certain climax, she says that it hurts and it burns so badly. But what's really interesting to note here is it's just on her lady parts, like she mentioned, and not anywhere else in the body, which is really bizarre, because if you're allergic to something, surely it affects your whole body, not just one specific part. Obviously, this is all like genital involved. It is just wild, and has this woman gone a whole life with this allergy, or has she only just recently developed? And then if so, what's caused that? How's that happened? But it must not be nice for her, because she says, oh yeah, you could do it without the end finish. It's like she said itself. It's not the same. So she's looking for ways to get around it. She's also allergic to latex products, which doesn't help, of course, for trying to prevent her allergy. So is it a latex allergy? Is there something in there that's making a parts burn? But there's no point of putting yourself through that pain and the screaming from the burn just so you can actually do it properly, because it's just not worth it, and you just kill the atmosphere and the mood, I guess. First time I'm hearing about this, I just didn't know something like this could happen. It's absolutely wild, and if my partner was to have this allergy, I'd be like, wow, okay, what do we do here? Because should I even to have a baby if you can't actually with someone? I just don't get it, but pretty crazy nonetheless.